Well, good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to a very, very special Tuku Music Focus, the man himself, on One. Tonight we celebrate nearly 400 songs, 40 albums, and 25 years plus in the business. Oliver Mtukudzi, welcome to One.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to Highfield, the early days, 1952, and thereafter you're a young boy riding your cycle, and there you are singing music, and it's at that point you start to get this love for music. So much so that your father bought you a guitar. When most guys would give their sons a smack, he gave you a guitar because you wanted to follow music, and he recognized it in you.
Well, I don't think my father bought a guitar for me to be a musician. He bought it as a toy. He didn't really buy it. He was like given by his employer, and he gave it to me as a gift, as a toy, you know.
As kids get.
Yeah.
And did that become one of your most prized possessions, or how did it develop, this love affair for music?
No, my most important toy was the bicycle, not the guitar. It was the bicycle, and the guitar was, well, something to play with. But otherwise, I loved the tricycle more than anything else. But anyway, as I grew up, I had this love of music, and one funny thing I realized was that I loved my own creation. You know, it wasn't like just liking any music. It was I'd rather sing my own creation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, taking us to Mbezi High School, you're a young man, the music is there in you, and it was not too long after that you encouraged many during the Chimurenga with the songs that only you and groups like you could communicate. Do you remember those early years?
Well, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. When I was at school, I used to be casted in school choirs, you know. But I never used to like to be told what to sing, you know. I wanted to sing what I wanted to sing. And of course, I would enjoy music from other people. And each time I listen to a new song and I like the song, I go home, I try and make my own song. I want a song which is better than that one.
Who were some of your favorites in those years?
Well, in those days, it was Western music. It was like the Otis Reddings, Wilson Pickett, Arthur Conley, you know. We used to listen to more of those soul music. And when the radio station started in Zimbabwe, I mean, more music which was being played was from the Western countries. We didn't have our own recordings here, so it was take it or leave it yet. We had to like this, that kind of music.
Oliver, do you think that there was a mix and match there, that the Zimbabwean people wanted a different sound, but it wasn't coming out?
No, it was all excitement that you have your little radio at home, and there you are, you're listening to some music, you're listening to some people, some messages, somebody talking in your house, you know. It was just excitement. I don't think people then wanted to hear their own music, and so they thought, it's impossible, how can you have your songs being played in that, you know?
In that environment.
Yeah, it was something new.
But you had that dream?
Well, not really. I didn't have that dream anyway, but I just loved the music I heard from the radio. I just loved it, and when I started creating my own music, it wasn't for recording. It was for fun. It was for me, you know.
Right. And that same passion doesn't seem to have changed. Don't go away. Oliver Mtukudzi on songwriting and much, much more. One. Welcome back. Oliver Mtukudzi, the early years. Zandi Moment, 1977, a young man, you compose a song that rivets the nation, and thereafter you join Wagon Wheels with another great, Thomas Mfumu, and encourage the guys out in the struggle with songs of the liberation. Obviously today, as we recollect those moments, there's some times that must bring some happy memories. How do you feel?
Well, Zandi Moment, when I did Zandi Moment, it was when I joined the Wagon Wheels, and it was a prayer, sort of a prayer song that I had spent 3 years without employment, and I was like, all my friends managed to get employed, and I was like, each time I'm on my own, because friends are all at work and I'm doing nothing. That's when I wrote that song, Zandi Moment, which means, I mean, I have overwhelming problems, so please, please Lord, do you notice that I'm suffering that? And then that the song was a hit. It stood in for all the youth. All the people were like overwhelmed by the song, and it was stayed for 11 weeks on #1 and that 8 weeks in the hit parade.
If you did a remix of Zandi Moment today with the plight that our nation's youth face in this current situation, do you think would have the same appeal?
Yes, it would, because it still works today. It's a prayer, and people are still praying, and people are still overwhelmed with problems, and everybody else uses the song. Even now that people talk about some people even demand it on shows. Yeah.
Closing with those early years, Oliver, if we go back to Jivashani and one of the concerts you gave there during the liberation struggle, what memories come back to mind?
Well, that's the very first day I actually had one-on-one with the freedom fighters. I hadn't actually met them. All our communication was through letters or through messengers and so on. But that was my very first day, and that day, what surprised me, the show started at 7:30, and by 8 o'clock we had a packed hall, and by 8:30 the hall was empty. People just stood up and went out and went home, and we were playing, and the show was supposed to go up to 11. I didn't realize people knew, I mean that something was wrong, so they were all running away, and we were performing. I didn't know. And when I went backstage to change for the next set, that's when I met this guy. He came to my window and knocked, and I saw a gun through his back, and I knew what it was. And he was just commenting on my music. Great music, keep it up. Great music. So when I went back,
for a standing ovation.
Yeah. So when I went back on stage, the band was on its own. There was just about a handful of people, about 3-4 guys who were just sitting there watching the show. And I was surprised, where is everybody else gone to? And I won't forget that. It was a
debut.
Yeah, it was really.
A debut into the real world of that time.
Yes.
And if you jump ahead now to Zimbabwe, 1980, hit after hit follows this, and Africa becomes a fantastic album that sells tremendously with hit songs like Zimbabwe. What did it mean to you as a songwriter to address the nation at that time?
Well, I didn't find any difference before independence, post-independence. To me, it was, we still have to feed the nation with some messages. We still have to do the same thing. We still had problems that needed solving. And for your own information, we were a new nation to be independent. We didn't know how to go about these things. We had to learn, and we had a lot to talk about.
Oliver, it's no doubt to those who love your music, particularly in this nation, also South Africa, north of our border, that your lyrics are poignant. They are straight to the causes of social needs, devastation, the problems of heritage, culture in a modern world today. Neria almost highlights that as best as any. AIDS. What emotions go through you as we now take a look at you as a songwriter, a poet, if you will?
Well, I get all my information from the people, and I live with the people. I live very close with the community. I'm only famous, but that makes me no different with the community I live in. So I stay with them. I know the feelings they have. I know what to talk about, and at times I just feel I should advise this if the people are frustrated and they do wrong things. It's the job for an artist to make note of these things and remind people, hey, look, this could be the wrong way to move.
Well, we'll come back to that. You're very humble on it. Oliver, as the songwriter, catch up more one-on-one after this. Oliver, the heritage of Zimbabwean music, in particular Kore, and with shakers and imbiras and a very strong percussion background of congas and the like, versus the new music of Salt and Pepper and Britney Spears and all that's out there, and what Samantha, your daughter's listening to.
Yeah.
How do you, as a musician, relate the two?
Well, I believe a culture is a creation of the people, and cultures do develop of course, in development, you're likely to lose some certain qualities. So you can't run away from that. But anyway, the basis, as long as people remember the base of where they're coming from, they'll never lose much. But they'll sort of be creative and create more using the modern instrument that's available. You can always be experimental. Artists are very experimental. Personally, I'm very experimental. That's how my music came to be named Tuku music, because of being experimental.
Well, your keyboardist, Richard, obviously uses electronic mbirras, and that's part of what you're saying, the evolution of music and cultures. I like what you said, culture's a creation of people.
Yes.
Explain to us some of the things we shouldn't lose in our culture, because so much of your music is based on social issues and are looking back on our heritage.
Oh, well, I think the main thing is not to forget who we are. People mustn't forget who they are. They should remember that if you're a kore, you are kore. You can't run away from that. You might not even like to be a kore, but if you're a kore, you're kore. What can you do? So the main base is to be proud of what you are, and I'm sure whatever you do, you can do it best because it's what you are.
What common values combine us?
The common value is art, is what you create as a human being. The thing is, we are all human beings, and that's one common thing that makes us us.
So you as an artist celebrate your uniqueness and yet enjoy diversity, it seems.
That's true. That's how it should be, I think. I believe I can be creative and create this, and somebody else can be also creative and creates a different creation, and I'm supposed to enjoy that creation more than my own creation. So that's how life is.
Talking about your creation, your group, you've got 5 phenomenal frontline singers, vocals are very strong, and yet Piki Kasamba is been with you for 18 years, a celebration of Tuku music. Take us through now your band.
Well, Piki, I've been with Piki for almost 18 years now, and he is a young brother to my personal friend, and when he joined the group, it was like, well, what can we do with this young boy? Let's
give him a job, eh?
Yeah.
You know what it's like to be unemployed.
Yeah, so from there on, it went serious, and we rehearsed so hard, and our choreography was so tight, and everybody else liked that, and they even think we are of the same family, you know.
Well, when you dance, you look the same too.
Oh, well, that's what people say, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's because the choreography is so tight, so people think, oh, it's an inborn thing, but no, we do rehearse these things. So, yes, he's one of the vocalists. I also have Kenny Neshamo, the percussionist. He also sings. And I have 2 ladies, Cecilia and Lovo, and Mwendi Chibindi.
Now Sam, your drummer, almost drives the band as opposed to a drummer who just plays along. In fact, so phenomenal is your front line and back line that many, including Debbie, your producer, have commented on the synergy of the group. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes, I do. I mean, he's not like drummer. Most drummers are like drum machines. You know, a drum machine, you program a program, and that's it. You know, it's got no feeling of what you guys in the front are doing. So Sam is sort of a driver. He makes us pick. If there are moments when you feel a bit tired or low, he pushes you. You go up,
right.
and he spins us up. You know.
But you're almost a provincial group, almost a representation of the nation, with everything from north to south. Quite a nice mix, but it doesn't seem like you planned it that way. It just happened.
No, it just happened. Maybe, you see, when I cast an artist into the group, we don't look how much he knows. We look for the character. Is this character workable with, or does he understand that if somebody tells him what to do, it doesn't mean he's useless? I mean, people who understand critics, people who understand the everyday living, because you can't teach one to be of a certain character, but you can teach him to play a song.
Right.
So
The music is what combines you.
Yes. So if he's prepared to work with others, and that's it. So
The team has a
I'm
good
just
gel.
realizing now when you're saying it's sort of, it covers the whole country. Yes, we do have from Tare to Bulawayo. And yes.
Well, Sam from the Highlands there.
Yeah.
Oliver, now moving to another section. Oliver, the man, his beliefs. Recently, First Bank put you into Men of the Century and people most honored for their talents and what they mean to the nation. Other research shows that you're probably one of the role models to our young people. After this, One on One comes back with Oliver Mtukudzi and what makes him believe what he does. Welcome back to One on One. The man and his beliefs, and an important question because 5% globally of artists generally write their own songs, but in Zimbabwe we have a prolific songwriting community. In fact, almost all of our bands have leaders who write their own music, including yourself. Quite an interesting fact for Zimbabwe.
Well, I don't know. For myself, like I said before, I mean, when I was young, I just loved to create my own sound and try and compare it with others, you know. So even on my lyrics, I write from the feeling. It's not like planning that I have to sit down here and write a song. Then I'm likely to question myself, what am I writing about? You know. But anyway, I write from feeling. What I feel, I should talk about that.
Well, you say that you're close to the people, and it's from there, the fans, the people, the
Yes.
grounding in life, that you get the issues of the day. What is it that you believe as a man, as a musician, Oliver? What is it that you would base your life on?
Well, I base my life on self-discipline. And I think that's the main umbrella that covers all my music. I talk about self-discipline. And because I believe a self-disciplined person is likely to be a responsible person, because he's got time to listen what others say. And he's got time to sort of weigh things up and find his way. If you're not disciplined, then you're likely to show off, or feel you're the best, whatever you think is the best, which is not it. So I think I base all my music, though I talk about social issues, but I think the main umbrella is self-discipline. You have to be self-disciplined to be a responsible journalist.
That discipline, an amazing facet, but I think there's many more to it. Let's now talk about one of the issues that you're quite noted for, and that is talking about the plight of women and rights, not just women and rights, but other issues and rights. You also are a tremendous advocate for artist rights. But let's just talk about the plight of those that are rightless and those that you feel need to have rights. Neria talked about that in our culture. Why don't you elaborate?
Yes, there's a very good story about when I wrote the theme song, Neria. The filmmakers approached me, and they seemed not to have enough time. They had about 3 days to start the shooting, and they wanted a theme song. And they came to me, gave me the script to read and understand it, write a song, and bring a demo in 3 days' time. And after 2 days, I hadn't read the script. And until they called me, hey, have you done anything about our song? I said, oh, wow. That's when I went to read the script and understand. And I think I didn't sit down seriously to create that. I just took what the song meant and the feeling of this woman in this script. I studied the character, and I knew the only thing she wanted was an advice. So I wrote my song as an advice to the poor woman.
Did you speak to your wife about this?
No, I didn't.
Do you ever talk with your wife? Say, honey, I got this new song on social issues or AIDS to talk about. Who do you rub shoulders with?
When I write my songs, I just write them on my own, and it's after when I make a demo, say at home, I play it, and maybe she listens, that she opens the hey, honey, that song is rubbish.
She'll tell you straight.
Yeah, she'll tell me, no, it's not a very good song. The next thing is to find out why she's saying so, because there must be something wrong with it. And in most cases, you'll find, yes, she's right somewhere, I'm wrong somewhere. And that.
Well, let's go now and just break that apart a little bit, Oliver, for our audience. What makes a great song, in your opinion?
A great song is a song that doesn't talk about aliens. It's a song that talks about the people the everyday human being. It talks about the truth about the people, and the harmony on this song has to be sort of uniform with what you're talking about. It's like how I write a song. I write my lyrics first, and the meaning of my song determines what sort of tune to go along with that.
So you lay the lyrics before you have any melody or any
Yes.
thought? Really?
Yeah, I do that.
Maybe he's loved because of the authenticity of his message. Maybe it's because of the power of his lyrics, which relate to every fabric of Zimbabwean society. Maybe it's the prolific songwriting, nearly 40 albums, over 400 songs in 25 years plus. Maybe it's just because he's a man of the people. Oliver, as we come to a closing, so many people support and are proud of what you have done, and yet you do not compare yourself to anybody. Why is that?
Well, I'm just a Zimbabwean, and I stay with the people. I talk about the people. I talk about the little issues that most people don't talk about, because those are the little issues that grow into big problems.
Well, the big problems you've alluded to too in your music, and on behalf of so many who love your style, your humility as a man, thank you for being on One on One.
Thank you very much.
Oliver Mtukudzi, a man of the people. You'll see him next week, One on One, as we talk about some of his great songs over an extensive career. Don't miss it. Next week, One on One. And tonight, keep watching for some of those specials One on One's bringing you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Good night.